So this movie is set in the West somewhere after the Civil War, and it's snowing, and this movie was written and directed by Quentin Tarantino. How did you think it went? Hateful Eight starts off with a beautiful, like, this is an amazing score. The soundtrack for this is one of those movies I go back on YouTube and I probably should buy. I just go back and listen to the soundtrack. Just I run through it. Some days I just run through it. Some on my car, in my car, laying in bed, going to sleep. I actually absolutely love the score for this film. The movie starts off with Samuel Jackson on top of a few dead bodies. He's a bounty hunter and he's trying to get to the next town to hide away from this storm that's going on, but he can't because his horse died. So oncoming is a stagecoach that is driven by a guy named Obi, and Kurt Russell and Jennifer Jason Leigh is inside the stagecoach. So Samuel Jackson stops the stagecoach and tries to get a ride to the next town from Kurt Russell, who is handcuffed to his bounty, who is Jennifer Jason Leigh, that he's escorting to being hung. Now, most bounty hunters, they just kill you and they bring you in, but for some reason, I guess because they call him the Hangman, he is John Ruth the Hangman, Kurt Russell, he keeps you alive until you get all the way to the rope and then has you hung. So while in the stagecoach, Samuel Jackson and Kurt Russell realize that they do know each other, and Samuel Jackson shared a personal letter that he got from President Abraham Lincoln, which he asked to see it again. Samuel Jackson shares the letter with him again. At that time, Jennifer Jason Leigh takes the letter and throws it out of the stagecoach. So now that all three of them are out of the stagecoach and it has stopped, they end up finding there's a guy that's freezing in the distance to ride to the next town. They end up finding out that he is the sheriff for the town that he's trying to bring, Kurt Russell is trying to bring Jennifer Jason Leigh. So with him being the sheriff, that means he's the guy that pays him and Samuel Jackson. What I really like about this movie, or what I should say I really love about this movie, you kind of think that Kurt Russell is the good guy or Samuel Jackson is the good guy, but you end up finding out from the sheriff that shares a story that Samuel Jackson is not a good guy. It's in the title. It's the Hateful Eight. It is what the title is. There's not a good character in this. You just have to. It's pretty much. It's up to you. Who is your favorite character? Mine was Daisy because Daisy was absolutely hilarious. And just like any Tarantino movie, it's long. The characters they're cool. The dialogue, there's quotes, every movie Tarantino does, you can take quotes out of it. So to take shelter from this storm that's going on, they decide to stop at the next town at a haberdashery. The name is Minnie's Haberdashery, which is pretty much like just a cabin stop or like some kind of rest stop. But when they get there, they find out they're not the only ones they're not the only ones to stop, and the owner of the haberdashery, including a regular that's always at the haberdashery, they're not there. There's a whole bunch of different people that they don't know. So Kurt Russell, John Ruth, he automatically senses that someone is there to try to help Daisy Domergue, Jennifer Jason Leigh, escape, to try to keep from spoiling it for anyone who hasn't seen the film. There is one point where Samuel Jackson is telling a story and you have to pay very close attention. After that, probably is my favorite scene, and it's a scene where Jennifer Jason Leigh is playing on the guitar, and if you really listen closely to her playing on the guitar and her singing, she's pretty much explaining the next sequence of events that's going to happen. So the truth behind that scene, she did not know how to play a guitar, but Tarantino believed in her, as he does all his actors. He seems to be the one director that can just pull out greatness from every single one of his cast members. Also, the guitar she was playing was a antique guitar, and what they were supposed to do was switch out the guitars. I guess it was like a 200-year-old guitar, and they were supposed to switch out the guitars. Tarantino did not have him switch out the guitars, and Kurt Russell he smashes the guitar into the wall, which gave off a real reaction from Jennifer Jason Leigh that was not cut away. So like I said, this movie was absolutely great. I'm not going to sit there and say much about what goes on in the haberdashery. It ends up being some kind of mystery that you have fun with. You kind of want to say who did it. You want to say this person. You have your suspects of who did what. I'm not gonna say, but it ends up being really quick. And this movie it's very, very long. At some point, you just want to okay, just stop, Tarantino. That's enough, because you go through this movie and then it stops and it brings you all the way back to the beginning, and then it brings you all the way back to the end. And the end is probably another half an hour. Like, I was on a date at this. My date that I was with asked me what I wanted to do. I said movies. She asked me what I wanted to see. It was between Star Wars and Hateful Eight, but she got to pick, and she picked Hateful Eight, which she should have picked Star Wars, because this movie is for people who love Tarantino movies and movie fans. This is just not a shoot 'em up movie that you would probably think. Guys, I'm gonna have to say The Hateful Eight is an 88 out of 100. I truly enjoyed it. This is the one movie where I said, as soon as I walked out of the theaters and got in my car, I said, I'm waiting for that on Blu-ray. The Hateful Eight is a very good movie. It's extremely long, to the point I loved it, but it's too long. 12 to 15 minutes could have been cut away, without saying much to not spoil it for people who did not see it. I'm going to go 88 out of 100. Guys, what do you think? What is your 0 through 100? Like, subscribe. I'm out of here.